Hello, welcome to our latest video. As you may know, this week is National Stalking Awareness Week, and the theme this year is Unmasking Stalking and raising awareness around how technology can be used by a stalker to monitor and control a victim. So today in this short video, we're going to talk about stalking, what it is, how to identify it and how to report it, and discuss how technology can be used by a stalker, and most importantly, the steps that you can take to stay safe online. I'm Inspector Clare Crossan and I'm the Domestic Abuse Inspector at North Yorkshire Police, and I lead our stalking support team. Here with me today, I'm fortunate to have my colleague Det Sgt Gavin Mayes from our cybercrime team, who's going to give us some advice on how we can manage our own digital footprint and how best protect our own accounts and devices. Hi Gavin, thanks for speaking to us today.
Thanks Claire, it's really good to be here today to speak to you.
Firstly, before we get into the advice side of things, it might be useful just to run through a few pointers on what stalking is and how to recognise it. It might sound really obvious, but actually we find that on average, victims of stalking wait a long time to report it to us because they don't recognise the behaviour they're being subjected to as stalking, or because they think they won't be believed by police, or they think that nothing can be done about it. To explain, stalking is repeated, unwanted contact from one person to another, which causes that person to feel distressed or fearful. When we say the word stalker, our mind might jump to an unknown person dressed in dark clothing and maybe lurking about in the shadows and physically following another person down the street. That might be the case, but statistically speaking, stranger stalking is quite rare. Also, we'll talk about in a moment with Gavin, the physical side of stalking is being rapidly overtaken by stalkers moving to more digital and virtual means of keeping tabs on a victim's movements and using these devices to try and exert control over them. And with the recent national lockdowns and people's physical movements being restricted, nationally police forces and stalking charities are reporting a rise in cyber stalking. But if we go back to what stalking is, a stalker is more likely to be known to the victim and more than likely has been in a previous relationship with them. So a former or ex-partner, an ex-husband or wife. Very often it can be someone that you have close links with, so you may share children with this person or perhaps a legal or financial connection, like a house or a mortgage. So very rarely is the stalker a complete stranger. That's why it can be a while until a person comes forward to report the controlling and fearful behaviour that is being inflicted upon them, because of the previous relationship and the gradual realisation that the behaviour of the stalker is not acceptable or indeed legal. There's a short mnemonic that we use in the police force to establish whether the behaviour a perpetrator is displaying is actually stalking, and that mnemonic is 4. So is the behaviour fixated, is it obsessive, is it unwanted and repeated? If so, it's stalking. So if someone is contacting you or attempt to contact you either in person, by phone, text, WhatsApp, Snapchat, Facebook, any means, or they are turning up on your doorstep or at the gym, at workplaces where they've not been invited, if they're causing damage to your property, sending unwanted gifts, monitoring your whereabouts through these apps, the internet or any other form of electronic communication, these are all stalking behaviours and you should report this to the police. Nobody should make you feel fearful for your own safety. On this point, in the past, it may have been that stalking victims felt vulnerable when they were outside of home, but that home was a safe haven. Now, however, we are surrounded by devices that connect us, and sadly this gives stalkers the opportunity to try and exploit these devices and attempt to exert their control inside victims' homes. Gavin, can we bring you in here please to talk about the digital and virtual means that stalkers are now adopting?
Thanks Claire. So before I start, I'd just like to give you a little bit of background about myself and the cybercrime unit. So I've worked for North Yorkshire Police for almost 20 years now, joining the unit when it set up back in December 2014. It's a relatively small team which is made up of myself and 3 cyber pursuit detectives who focus on investigating cyber-dependent crime. We also have 2 cyber protect officers who provide cyber safeguarding advice to the public and businesses on how to protect themselves against cyber threats and vulnerabilities. They also undertake prevent work with young and vulnerable adults who commit computer misuse act offences or who are on the verge of being drawn into cybercrime. They might not realise the consequences of the actions, and to them we offer support, guidance and positive diversion to help them understand that cybercrime isn't a victimless crime and try to steer them away from engaging in it. Finally, I have 2 digital media investigators who look at a wider range of criminal investigations. They specialise on the digital aspects of those crimes and provide both technical and investigative guidance to frontline officers, CID and SIOs on major investigations. It's here where our unit first became involved in cyber stalking investigations, having seen a sharp increase in covert tracking and hidden listening devices being used in the facilitation of stalking and harassment. It moves us onto what I'd like to talk to you about today, about how easily certain modern applications can unfortunately be used against you. So we all live in this digitally connected world that's only getting bigger through the advancement of new technologies, such as the Internet of Things and artificial intelligence. This technology has enabled people to connect more than ever before. We can choose to digitally share our lives with our partners, family and friends, regardless of how physically far apart we are. Yet we're also seeing a rise in software that enables users to remotely spy on another person's life via their digital device, without the affected end user giving their consent or even being notified. I think when we think about cyber stalking and how we can protect ourselves, we think about using strong passwords, two-factor authentication, antivirus software, and keeping our social media applications locked down through strong privacy settings and providing access to friends and family only. In the vast majority of cases, if you get those aspects right, you've gone a long way to safeguard yourself. With social media, just consider what information is accessible via your page. Are you checking in at places and revealing your current location? Or are you painting a picture of your current location through a series of identifiable photographic locations, which someone could piece together, potentially identifying the street or your home address where you live? So really consider the information you post and whether it could be used against you. I'll give you an example of where things can go wrong. So if you're in a relationship or have separated from your partner, where they previously set up the mobile phone contract in their name and provided you with a device, then it's really important you look to either amend the contract or take a new one out in your own name. The reason being is the contract owner who created the account and set up the phone could potentially abuse applications such as the Find My iPhone application to track your current location. Applications of this nature could be misused as part of ongoing controlling and coercive relationships, or by ex-partners to trace your current whereabouts. So make sure you carefully consider your account management, and if applications of this nature are on the phone, check to see if they're currently active, and if necessary, how you can disable or uninstall them. Also, if your partner or ex has had access to the device and has had time to install programs, you really need to consider if stalkerware could have been present on the device. What do I mean by stalkerware? Well, this is an example of how technologies can become a risk to your everyday life. This is commercially available software, easily downloadable, where manufacturers often position its product for safeguarding purposes, specifically parental monitoring. But this can be misused as a means to determine your GPS, read private messages, see and hear through the camera and the microphone, view photographs and media, and even capture your keystrokes. Stalkerware operates in stealth mode, meaning there's no icon displayed on the device to indicate its presence, and it's not visible to the affected user. Although these spying applications try to conceal themselves, most reveal their presence in one way or another. So for example, if your mobile phone data is running out quicker than expected, or if the battery is running low fast, these can be indicators. To combat stalkerware, it's really important that you have antivirus software installed and running, and that it's capable of scanning and detecting this type of software. If you want to learn more about stalkerware and how to protect yourself, I would really recommend stopstalkerware.org, as they have produced a really good video which is designed to help victims better understand and detect the telltale warning signs. I would add, don't just think about yourself. You also need to consider if your ex-partner has given your child a phone under the guise of wanting to stay in contact with the child, perhaps without your consent or prior consultation, that the device could have stalkerware pre-installed and hidden on the device. Again, this would capture activity from within the family home. So again, think about scanning your children's devices also with antivirus software. The other thing to think about is the gradual introduction of more and more smart technology within our homes, often referred to as the Internet of Things. So things like electronic video doorbells that have become hugely popular recently, mostly to monitor Amazon deliveries or people's cats moving about through the day. But seriously, if a former partner knows how to access your doorbell camera or your home CCTV, they can easily monitor your movements. When you leave your home, if you leave on foot, in a car, when things are being delivered, when you're having visitors to the address, it can be used to build a pattern of life against you and your family's movements. Same applies to voice-controlled applications such as Alexa, Siri, Google Home, which can be accessed to find out information that has been recently requested, questions that have been asked, items that have been ordered, and when deliveries are expected. So again, it's really important that you make sure you've got the relevant security and password locked down so only you know how to access those logins. Similarly, there's been a huge uptake in smart devices which allow you to control your heating or your lighting from your phone. While fantastically convenient, these types of devices are another way a stalker or abuser could try and exert their control, incite fear, and make you feel like you've got no sense of control over your own home. So always make sure these devices are secured and protected by changing your passwords to something strong and unique and updating your account security settings regularly. Audio and video surveillance cameras and car tracking devices are also readily available to purchase online and can be easily fitted. You name it, these devices can be connected with anything such as plug adapters, socket leads, USBs, USB phone chargers, radios, digital clocks, air fresheners, smoke or carbon monoxide detectors, even PNR sensors that you would normally see used on security systems. These are all commercially available products which you can find online at so-called spy shops, which can be easily installed within the home and either connected to the home via your Wi-Fi or transmit signals via a cellular network. My best advice to anybody who has discounted all other plausible explanations as to how someone has come to learn about private information or details about your movements, and you've taken all best advice and guidance around locking your applications down online, then you should really report your concerns to the police. In the case of a car tracker, a local garage should be able to run a quick check for you and inspect the vehicle for any foreign objects attached to the underside of the vehicle. While this all may sound very extreme and far-fetched, my team have been involved in investigations where tracking devices have been installed on phones, cars, and hidden devices within the home. So it really does happen. We've even seen instances of children's toys having had tracking devices inserted into the battery housing or within the toy itself to track the family movements. I think in summary, it's worth noting that we take these kinds of reports very, very seriously within North Yorkshire, and we've taken steps to ensure that the cybercrime unit are trained and equipped to offer frontline investigators what we call technical surveillance countermeasure search, which in layman's terms is bug detecting in support of their investigation. Hopefully, that will provide some reassurance to victims within North Yorkshire that we have the means to effectively investigate cyber stalking, and that this also serves as a deterrent to those who seek to undertake said actions and think it will go undetected. So thanks again, Claire, for giving me the opportunity today. I hope it's been beneficial and provided you with some useful insight. Thank you.
Thanks, Gavin, for that useful information. As you say, with us becoming more reliant on smart technology and the convenience and ease they bring, it pays to be aware of the unique insight these devices could give into a person's day-to-day life and ensure the security around them. As Gavin said, if you believe you're a victim of stalking, that someone is monitoring your movements, please report it to North Yorkshire Police. You can make a report on 101 or in an emergency always 999 and we will respond to you. You will be believed and listened to, and we will take all the necessary safeguarding steps to keep you safe. We have specially trained stalking victims officers who can support you and ensure you get the help and advice you need, and a dedicated stalking detective who supports and advises the investigating officers with all reports of stalking to ensure we get the very best outcome for victims. We do recognise, however, that not everyone wants to speak to the police, and there are a number of other agencies out there who are waiting to help you. The details of these agencies are given at the end of this video and are also available on our website, which is www.northyorkshire.police.uk/stalking. I hope this video has been helpful and provided some guidance and advice on the steps you can take to feel safely. Thank you for watching.